your soul. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, look, man, making it in the music business, there is no true definition of that. And especially nowadays, with the reduced power of record labels, man, you don't have to, give up everything, give up your soul, give up your beliefs to make it in the music business. And, I've talked about on this channel, walking into A&M Records and just feeling, a creepy sensation when what I thought was an innocent attempt to try to help me and give me a job working at the record company became, what are you doing for dinner tonight? And I know a way you can make $50 an hour, but I can't talk about it over the phone. It's just, one of those moments where, I said, no, I'm not even going to entertain these thoughts, and never bothered to contact that person again. And maybe I passed opportunity. Maybe I passed my shot at, getting somewhere in the music business, but, I was never willing to sell my soul. I was in some ways defiant in my talents, and I wanted to be respected for my talents, but I never sold out just to, make it in the music business. And look, you could say, in modern day society, the stuff that's going on now with OnlyFans. And if you're not familiar with OnlyFans is it's essentially a personal pornography site where people are able to go on there and post their content, albeit potentially X-rated in some cases, and in some cases extremely X-rated. When you have somebody like Bonnie Blue, who is doing the stuff that she's doing these days with, 1,000 Men and all this other kind of nonsense. There are people making millions of dollars doing these things, right? But, and I'm not SLUT shaming or any of that. Hey, if that's what you want to do, if you don't care about the repercussions of doing stuff like that, but, I think, in my opinion, that is selling your soul. And the reason why it is, because look, the things that you do in your youth, the things that you're willing to do, could come back to haunt you when you want to have a normal life. And I know this is getting into an area that's a little bit out of the realm of, say, the music business, but I think it's a very valid point. And in my time being on the Sunset Strip and, playing in hair bands, right alongside the business of doing that was the adult film business. And so close and so semi-intertwined that at one point I ended up at Ron Jeremy's house. That story's on my page. And right around the corner from the Shock House in Van Nuys was one of the largest office of one of the largest adult film companies going at that time, Vivid Video. And I used to literally jog by. I would jog around the neighborhood trying to, stay in shape. And I would jog by Vivid Video. And I would see girls going into the office. And maybe they were going in for an audition. Maybe they were going in to collect a check. I never went in there, so I have no idea what was going on. But everybody knows from back in those days, Vivid Video. And there were times where I attended events at FM station, legendary club in the Valley. And there would be adult films, Hayapasha Lee and things like that would be, doing these film debuts. So they would literally air the film on the jumbo, TV, the little screen TV, a projector thing that they had there. And then the adult actress would perform with her band on stage. And look, man, I think a lot of those people in that business, I don't think, they were bad people. I think they just, they needed money. They got in a situation where they need funds. And that became a viable option to them. I'm not judging people who do that. But in the same way with OnlyFans and stuff like that, I think there are repercussions to that lifestyle, and selling out to do that is not a choice that I made. And you could argue that, with the recent passing of a guy, Randy West, who was an adult film actor, and I don't think, he wasn't married. He didn't have any kids. I think a lot of these adult male film stars have a difficult time at one point later in their life finding someone, because everything was just presented to you on a platter. You show up for work that day and here's this attractive actress, and you get to, without any effort, without any conversation or, having any pickup skills, you're just all of a sudden engaging in these acts. And maybe outside of that business, and once you've had a career of only doing that, it's going to be hard to find somebody that can accept that. The same for the females that get pulled into that business. Many of them end up, being born again Christians and things like that, dealing with the mental and psychological effects of a lifestyle like that, and realizing that, man, they're going to have a difficult time, normal people accepting that that's what they did for a living. And I think, this can parallel to the music business. I think you can set up morals, you can set up limits to what you want to do. If you, cross those boundaries, you may be selling your soul. And I think, in the past, you would hear stories about Robert Johnson, going down to the crossroads and selling his soul to the devil. And that's where he got his amazing talent. And I had heard stories about Charlie Parker, the great saxophonist, and how, he had, had a tough time on stage, and somebody threw a cymbal at him on stage, and he went off and practiced, or some would speculate that he sold his soul, and he came back and he was Bird, and he was this amazing musician. I don't know if these kind of things exist, because those types of talent take practice, and they take natural ability, and natural ability harnessed with practice and resolve. But there definitely comes a point in the business where things can happen, bad things can happen to good people. And if you come out of the music business unscathed, I would say you are, you've really pulled off a major feat, because the lifestyle that you may find yourself leading through playing in, whether it's playing in bars and the things that you're privy to in those bars. You can start out in the business and, not be a drinker and not be, doing other things that may be bad for you, substances and things like that. And slowly your morals can break down when you're faced with the day-to-day reality of, I'm a performer now and I have to perform. And it doesn't matter how I feel. It doesn't matter, what is going on. I've got to just get out there and perform. And you could take somebody who was very religious, like Elvis Presley, but obviously he had an other side. And because he had to get out on that stage, because he had to perform, because he had to sleep at a certain time, because he had all these pressures of all these people that he was supporting through his business, whether it meant his band or his Memphis Mafia or his father at home or his wife and his kid and all those other pressures. They pile on, and pretty much your morals or what you stood for before get thrown to the wayside, and you get pulled in by something that you simply can't quit. And in his case, he never got the chance to stop. So selling your soul, it's an interesting concept. I don't know if, I don't know anyone who said, hey, you got to sit down and you got to sign this contract now. Bob Dylan alluded to it in a 60 Minutes, segment. And people have asked me about that. People have asked me about this topic. And, I can't say there was ever a moment where some dark, shadowy figure came to me with a contract and you're going to have to sign this contract and some big Illuminati moment, because, the one time that I got a record deal, it was with an indie label. It was with some people that I met through, contacts in Nashville, and it was all pretty much above board. And look, by doing the project that I was doing at that time, I was crossing the line of, for me, I didn't care if I had to curse or if I had to, use profane language and humor and all that other kind of stuff to get a record deal. And that's essentially what we did when we did our project Rap Necks. And so I wasn't afraid to do that because I didn't have a family at the time. I didn't have a family of my own. Now, I had a family back home, but, I told them, look, this is what we're doing now, and it's getting some success, and we're signing a record deal, and, frankly, doing that got me out of the one-room, decrepit, crappy apartment with one guitar and one guitar amp and a cable. That was my entire rig. And, it got me to the next level where I could get to a point where I could, get some gear and go on the road and do other experiences and have stories to tell about on this channel. But, I can't say that I ever had to sell my soul. I can't say that I ever had some Illuminati moment where, it was like, okay, if you want this success, you're going to have to do this. I pretty much existed at the slightly above the club level and then getting to tour and see behind the curtain a little bit about what was going on. But I never saw in the country world, I never saw any overt selling of the souls. I never saw any dark forces behind the scene. What I saw was a grind that would grind you down, break your morals, and leave you to your own demons. And for me, maybe that was the most difficult thing, is coming to grips with my own darkness and my own issues that I had going on, getting off the road. and getting out of the touring world enabled me to not have to do things to go to sleep and do things to wake up and all this other stuff that sometimes you can get pulled into on the road. Because, as I was in the clinic one day at the hockey rink we were playing on the road in Canada, big arena, and, was run down. I was, had some kind of upper respiratory thing going on, and I've got to sing each night and I've got to play each night. It's this big production and this big stage. And, the doc who normally treats hockey players is sitting there. And I just say to him, I say, "Hey, Doc, I'm sick. And there's a lot of money riding out there tonight." And he says, "Yep, there's a lot of money, riding on tonight. And so I'm going to prescribe you a Z-Pack and suggest that you, take it easy and try and get some rest." And so, yeah. There's a lot of money riding out there, and there's a lot of pressure to perform each night. And if having to do that when you're sick, and having to do that when you're tired, and having to go out there and perform no matter what, perhaps that's some form of selling your soul. Because the average person doesn't have that much money riding on them going to work each day. They can usually take a day off. They can usually, "Hey, I need to leave early today because I'm not feeling well." But when you're out on the road, man, a decision like that, and I've been on gigs where the headliner, all of a sudden you do your sound check, you hear the other opener do their sound check, and you're waiting on the bus, and all of a sudden you hear, "Show's canceled. Singer's voice is gone." And if the headliner's voice is gone, show's canceled that night. And in that situation, we ended up finding a bar across the street from the arena and putting on an impromptu free show, just to have something to do that night. Because, sitting idle on a tour bus, when you think that you're going to go out and play an arena that night, sitting idle is sometimes the worst time of being on the road. Sometimes, what do they say? The idle mind is the playground of the devil. So, selling your soul, don't do it. Don't compromise your integrity. Don't compromise anything for fame, because it's just flat out not worth it.